What's up, beautiful people? Listen, Daruma, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be checking this video, and it's titled John Lennon's son sends scattering words for Prince Harry following ungraceful UK exit. This is interesting. I'm excited to check this one out to hear what I've got to say. Let's check it out.
Joining me now is writer and broadcaster Esther Kraku. Esther, Harry's visa issue continues. What's the latest?
Yes, so we know that the Heritage Foundation has put in a request to actually have the documents regarding his visa, his American visa, revealed to the public, because he revealed in his book Spare that he had taken drugs, he'd taken cocaine and magic mushrooms. And when you apply for a visa in the US, you actually have to disclose any drug use, previous and current. We know that there have been British celebrities that have actually not been allowed to enter the US for those types of reasons, like 𝑗𝑜𝑖𝑛. So, you know, the Heritage Foundation, which is a right-wing think tank, only thinks that it makes sense to have those documents revealed to the public to see if there was any bias when Prince Harry was applying for his visa. Now, of course, the White House has been fighting back against this, arguing that it would be prejudicial to reveal that, and he would receive a lot of negative stigma. But the reality is they're doing this for diplomatic reasons. It would not look good for the Americans to effectively exile the son of the king of one of their closest allies, and that's the reason why they're doing this. Now, people would have said, you know, why did Prince Harry choose to reveal this detail? I think it's because he didn't actually think of the repercussions when he was writing Spare. It was all about him sort of vomiting his feelings and saying everything that he felt. But he didn't think of the wider implications of revealing his Taliban kill count, for example, and potentially making him and his family a target, or revealing the fact that he did take drugs. I don't think he knew the American immigration system so well that he thought it was better to reveal that information. Now, you could argue that it was either ignorance or naivety, or just the fact that he thought he would get away with it. But the reality is this is not something that's going away, much to, I suppose, the Biden administration's chagrin. They don't want to reveal that information, because it will be a diplomatic nightmare if there were any negative repercussions. If you turn this into a political matter, you will effectively alienate one of your allies, which I don't think the Americans can afford to do. Now, Donald Trump, who we know is running again for a second term in the White House, has been very vocal about his stance on the Sussexes in particular. He's not a fan of Meghan, as he's made very clear. And it looks like his administration, should he come back to the White House, will not be very favorable, will not look favorably on Prince Harry. So this is actually a problem that's not going to go away. And, you know, begs the question, why did he say this? Why did he do this to himself? And it could also potentially mean that he loses his mansion in Montecito. You know, if his visa is revoked, he'll have no choice but to return to the UK, where he and his wife don't have an official residence anymore. So, you know, what will happen there? They don't have automatic rights to armed security, which is a case that he's still arguing with the Home Office over in the courts. So it could actually turn very nasty. But I think at the moment they're hoping that the judge will choose to side with the White House and not reveal the documents in his visa application.
And as an NC,
you see, exactly the thing that ordinarily, if he was listening, or if he was with the family, it would have been an easy case or well sorted. But you see that he just felt like spilling and sharing everything, and now he's facing the consequences. And I've said it before, lots of people always think that there are no consequences for some actions, or they don't even want to think of the consequences, just spill and share. And honestly, just like what Esther said, which is true, he did not even think of the repercussions, or maybe he did not imagine that something like this would affect him in the long run, because when he was writing it, it was just filled with the emotions that he wanted to pour out everything and sell and make himself look good in the public eye. But now that all of this is surfacing, at least, I mean, his own words are biting him later, and now you can see like it's not looking good in the public eye. But again, let me know what you think about this, because I mean, at this point, lots of people have their thoughts and their speculations regarding this, and it's not really looking good for the successes at this point. And my question still remains, like, what is the constant quest to be liked by the successes is what I don't even understand. Maybe somebody would, but yeah, let's go on.
Documents in his visa application.
And as an ancillary point, what are the implications if Harry is able to or does take US citizenship?
Well, the question is whether he'll even be granted citizenship. So it's not the issue of his drug taking that's the big offense. It's actually about lying. So a lot of American, any sort of American visa or sort of green card applications or citizenship applications are done on the goodwill of the state. So they're assuming that the applicant is being truthful. If they find that the applicant has withheld information or has purposely lied, which would be revealed if Prince Harry didn't actually state his current or past drug use, then that's grounds to actually refuse his citizenship, which then begs the question, will that kind of sort of snowball into refusing his green card and his actual residency to remain in the US? We don't know what American officials would think about that, what the immigration officials would think. We don't know whether they'll think it's a grave enough offense to actually refuse him grounds to be in the US at all. Which would, of course, have a huge knock-on effect with his life with Meghan and his children. It might have to be a situation where he just commutes back and forth to see his kids from the UK, or he'd have to move his family back to the UK, or he'd have to find somewhere else. The bigger problem then there is, if anyone who's familiar with visa applications, if you've been refused a visa application for any reason from countries like the US, where like sort of Western countries are quite aligned, it's actually harder to get applications or visa approvals for other countries. So, for example, if I, as a British citizen, have been refused a US visa on the grounds of lying or drug use or anything like that, it makes it that much harder for me to get a visa to Canada, for example, or to France or to Australia or to anywhere else where the couple could potentially move. So there are actually quite wide-reaching implications, other than the fact that his citizenship and maybe by extension his residency in the US could be refused.
And while the Sussexes do cop a lot of criticism, a barb has been shot, very oddly, from Sean Lennon. What's the gripe?
Yeah, so this Sean Lennon, who's the son of John Lennon, has had some scathing words for Prince Harry. He described him as an idiot, and he qualified that by saying he's actually met him, which kind of gives him authority to say that. He got into kind of a social media spat with some Prince Harry fans online, and he said, "Look, I have a lot of sympathy for him and everything that he's gone through, which is why he finds his stance on a lot of things and his kind of revelations after leaving the royal family in 2020 as quite disappointing." He thinks that his mindset is childish. It's about whinging and moaning. When yes, he has been through some difficult times in his life, especially with the loss of his mother at the age of 12. He thinks that his attitude towards other aspects of his life have been quite disappointing. And it's quite surprising because you haven't had many celebrities voice these sorts of opinions or any sorts of opinions on the Sussexes. The ones that you have heard have kind of been, fawning and almost a little bit sycophantic. They've been saying that, the Sussexes are so brave to leave the royal family. No one has actually had the guts to say that, their constant whinging is a bit of a turnoff, or the fact that they left in quite an ungraceful manner and had like basically a scorched earth technique where they decided to reveal all the family's secrets and show on display or put on display how aggrieved they were, when in reality most members of the public are thinking tough luck.
Now, you're almost a couple of weeks into a general election campaign. Obviously, this has implications for the royal family and to the extent they're able to undertake their duties. We understand Charles was a bit miffed about Rishi Sunak, his decision to go early.
Yeah, so the decision to hold a snap election this summer on July 4th has apparently annoyed the king, mainly because, the king is starting to get back into public duties. We know he's been itching to get back in, especially, after following his cancer diagnosis. It's quite hard luck to be waiting to be king your entire life, and then within the first year of you being king, you've been diagnosed with cancer and have had to retreat and not fulfill your public duties to the extent that he would. We know that King Charles is a workaholic like his mother, and even Queen Camilla has said that she wishes he would slow down. But Rishi Sunak's announcement of a snap election has meant that the royal family, and particularly the king, is going to have to scale back some of his public duties to the absolute essentials. He's not going to be able to do exactly what he wanted to do and be out and about every day like he would like, because you don't want to take attention away from the general election. Broadcasters in this country have a duty to give a certain amount of airtime to all the major parties and all the major candidates. And so that means, unfortunately, that the royal family and particularly the king is going to have to scale back in his duties. And we know that that's exactly what he doesn't want to be doing, because he really wants to be out and about and making the most of his time as king.
Esther is right about the visa part, and more so, what lots of people don't know is if you're, and which Esther just explained there, and I just want to buttress on that, is if you've been refused US visa and the reason is stated, lots of countries would be skeptical about that, especially if on the grounds of lie or something or whatever. Lots of countries would not even want to grant you visa because they'll be like, okay, if you can be refused visa in America, then the sketchy one, they will be skeptical about that. But again, I don't think they actually he actually thought through of the repercussions of all of this, or he actually thought through about this. But let's even talk about Sean Lennon, because I mean, lots of celebrities stay silent regarding the successes because lots of them hail them from behind and or hail them in public and stuff and all of that. But again, yeah, we understand that Prince Harry have gone through lots of things while in his life. But I mean, who didn't go through things in their life? At least at some point, you have to grow up, and that is what lots of people are saying. You should grow up and be the adult in the room, or be an adult rather than still whining and crying. Like, people are tired of it at this point. But let me know what you think about this. Again, back to his visa status. It is interesting because I mean, at this point it's gonna be a tricky one because I mean, nobody knows what the outcome of it is gonna be, and now I understand the reason why the U.S. government would want to keep it private and not want to reveal some information to the out to the public because it will not look good in the public eye as well as the royal family as well. But let me know what you think about it. I'm sure tons of people have interesting things to share. I would really love you to share that. You can share the useful information I think might be really helpful. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe and all of that stuff. And until next time, see you in the next video.